Hello, Space Engineers. Welcome to Space Engineers 2. I've been spending most of the alpha just building a bunch of Star Wars ships, 2-to-1 scale. If you don't know what that means, it basically just means I'm taking the 1-for-1 proportions and doubling it. I just wanted to make a quick kind of video going over my favorite ships. You can kind of see one of them just overtowering this asteroid, but going through this makeshift tunnel here, you can see some of the ships already. Yeah. I won't lie, I've put unreasonable amounts of hours just building a bunch of ships. I can't even, as you can see there at the bottom right, my PCU meter is already capping. This base itself does not take up that much. It's because of the amount of ships and their extensive building count. So I put in a good amount of hours in Space Engineers 1 doing like survival, but the 230 hours I put into this has simply just been recreating Star Wars ships. Mostly all of them are empty of their bigger ships. I do have some interiors. I even labeled them through my blueprints here. Whenever I use them in an actual world, for right now, due to that PCU at the bottom, I just take them out entirely so I can paste them in as much as I am allowed to physically. So all of them usually have empty interiors like this. This one also, like I said, if it's big, it likely has a side interior. This one also does, but empty here. I did a lot of referencing towards different elements of the Star Wars build. This assault carrier right here, it lacks a lot of details online, so I have to kind of eyeball and follow any kind of description to the best of my ability. So this was kind of common practice with certain ships. The Millennium Falcon, this was my real first build. I have like 4 separate versions. This one was also built with an interior, but I cut it out because, like I said, big ships, no interior. Slave 1, due to the lack of mechanics in this game, I did this thing where I've built separate parts. So the Slave 1, here I can show by example. I had to make multiple versions of its moving parts, which was interesting. I never understood the full mechanics of the Slave 1 other than the fact it had gyro interior and wings, but actually getting into the gritty details, it's quite fascinating. Like, I always assumed this little bar support, whatever it is, I thought it moved with the wings, but nope, it just stands still. So that was fun to try and build around. I do plan, once they add in like rotors, possible hinges, to actually incorporate the authentic mechanics of the Slave 1. So I just want to show by example one thing about this. So the Slave 1 currently is in the landing position, but I also do have the Slave 1 upright, but I'm not pasting that in. The X-Wing, I have a separate world dedicated towards all ships that have mechanics. So the B-Wing, you can see back here, it has both its attack and let me show you. So it has both its attack right there and its standard. So I have it pre-made, so if I want either of the two. Plus the cockpit doesn't rotate, so I just pasted it like this, so it's landing, it's like this. When it's attack, it's the opposite. But like I said, once they add in the actual rotors and stuff, I do plan on actually building the mechanics of how these ships function. The A-Wing here was also one of my first builds. These, both the Y-Wing and the A-Wing were my first creations before I kept to canon accurate sizes. So, like I said, I build 2-to-1, but the original A-Wing and Y-Wing, A-Wing, let me see if I can pull it up, if it'll let me. There it is. So, this might be pushing the, yeah, this is pushing. But as you can sort of see, this thing is a lot bigger, because when I originally was building Star Wars ships, I wasn't actually keeping any metric size or anything. I just eyeballed it all. You can even tell by the cockpit, like, that's a full glass window. Yeah. So this thing, I found it too big and remade it small. And that's what's, and the A-Wings, oh my god, the A-Wings, I have a whole system here of all of them right here, all multicolored. So that's a common thing. If something has multiple colors, I just pasted it and did either touch-ups like the Y-Wing Resistance. It's actually different from the original Rebels version. I never knew that was a thing, which was interesting. The Y-Wing's Rebel version is like thin-necked, while the Resistance is fat and has these curves to it, which is really fascinating. And then the Clone War Y-Wing, the BTL, the TIE Fighter, TIE Advance, TIE Striker, and Interceptor. I do have other versions of the TIE Fighter built, so like the TIE Bomber. I even did the mining rig one because it was just simply interesting to try out. And then the I don't remember the name of the fucking, whatever the new trilogy calls the Star Wars Empire, but I have different paint variants and other variants made. And then as you can see here, I got this huge frigate. So this thing was fun to build, and especially keeping it to the canonical size, just having it overtower these ships is just absolutely fun. Also, you can see there's like this light technique I did, where I just put windows down and then a single light bulb, so from farther away the light just is more prominent through the mush of gray, much like how it was in those shots with the original frigate in the movies. So I do, like I said, I just wanted to make this quick. I put in crazy amounts of hours, and I'm really enjoying Space Engineers 2, even with the lack of functionality and gameplay. It's purely a sandbox game at this moment. This is even before the Slice update to the version 1.2, whatever the next big update's going to be. I am in complete base alpha of Space Engineers 2. But yeah, I do still plan on building more. I even have another ship that I'm currently working on, doing some slight tweaks to it. If the game will let me. Oh, there might be too much stuff placed. I don't even know at this point. This game, it's buggy right now. It's a buggy mess. But yeah, I just been building and building. But I hope you enjoyed the small showcase. And if you decide you want to play, I so would encourage it. As much as it is kind of expensive to buy for $40, I do not regret my purchase. So have a great one, Space Engineers. Later.